I was asked to reflect on the swapping process between two different people that have different functions in different institutions. In the past, I have learnt that I should be true about what I'm doing, and I accepted this challenge without questioning, what do I have to do with this process? Without consciously realizing that what they're asking me was to be in the role of a witness, a position that I have been in for a long time, but never connecting it to myself, until a friend last summer started to tell me I was doing this systematically. I was asked to speak about the sponsor and the sponsored, their relationship and their institutions. But instead of that, I'm going to speak about my struggles in this project, if you don't mind. I will assume the position of the witness, not just because I have been asked to, but because, unlike the role of the observer, it is an attitude that brings with it a sense of personal involvement. the only way I know how to do things. How can I share with you the solitary and private experience of reading these texts? The process of guessing the original intention of each sentence. I don't know if I'm the right person to bring you their experience to light. So here they are, in silence, on black. The scenic constructions will be built up by you in the field of the ideas. I'm asking for your interpretation. I'm asking that you take an active part. Why not even say a provocative position? The words are always contaminated, and in my perspective of their situation, they become a reflection of myself. I cannot pretend there is a neutral position.
Hi.
Hi.
Is Igor already back? He's
Yes.
still sick.
No, he's back.
Because he didn't report that he was back.
No, he's in today. And he was
Since today.
No, he was here yesterday already. But at 2 we have a meeting, so he is around. Yeah, he's just...
Then we have to report him to the insurance company. And then I'm already 2 days late.
There is a tiny difference between observer and witness. An observer is a sort of delegate sent to watch and report on something in a Cartesian way, not taking part in it. An outsider. A witness as medium to a larger context, putting events into a more conscious light, leaving a sea of possibilities open. An insider.
In my last mail, I was telling you about my first experience of Blue House. If I were to encapsulate it in one word, I would use the term undecidability. Undecidability is about constant evasion of fixed identity, about porosity of physical, ideological, functional surfaces that are bleeding into each other, refusing to stabilize, to get overdetermined by any kind of border regime, between inside and outside, between host and guest, between public and private, between working and living. In that sense, Blue House is actually not a house at all. I think that the uncovered windows of Dutch apartments that never stops to fascinate foreigners and tourists are a good metaphor to examine. My relation with Dutch society very much feels like...
He makes part of the context because it was empty. This emptiness brings space for multiple realities. He was inside, making part of the experience, not collapsing the wave function of the system, enjoying and paying attention to the full spectrum of potentialities, where time and space lose their structure. A quantum place. She was in a closed system, saturated with rules, structures, and predefined objectives. She was the device of someone that limited her role to just one possibility, the one of advisor. She was the collapsing particle in the system, bringing everything to a single manifested point of reality, forcing their awareness of the strange body presence. She was the outsider delegate.
Richard en Brabander, Ruud Welde, wrote, "How humanistic is your home?" in which he states that quite often the guest is only seen as a guest when he moves according to the rules and beliefs of the host. A guest who misbehaves from the perspective of the host is no longer seen as a guest, but as an intruder, as someone who interrupts the process of hosting. So the question then arises, how can a host make space for a guest that questions the host values and puts his beliefs to test? How to host difference and allow for unplanned otherness?
There is no reality existence, independent of our own conscience as observer. And here I am, trying to collapse as few potentialities as possible in this experience. It depends on how open we want to be, and how open we create the systems. Perhaps I reflected too much about my position. That takes up space. Perhaps I'm projecting my struggles onto them. The time is past, and I still can't create a clear discourse on it.
In my last mail, I was telling you about my first experience with Blue House. In one word, I would use the term undecidability. Undecidability is about constant evasion of fixed identity, about porosity of physical, ideological, functional surfaces that are bleeding into each other, refusing to stabilize. Between inside and outside, between host and guest, between public and private, between working and living. In that sense, Blue House is actually not a house at all.
How humanistic is your home? In which he states that quite often the guest is only seen as a guest when he moves according to the rules and beliefs of the host. How humanistic is your guest who misbehaves from the perspective of the host is no longer seen as a guest, but as an intruder, as someone who interrupts the host. A guest who misbehaves from the perspective
clean
of
that
the
it
host.
becomes invisible and I become aware of it only when
As someone who interrupts the process of
the
hosting.
most efficient borders between public and private are those that cannot see.
Guest that questions the host
Transparency
values and puts his
is not
beliefs to test.
porosity.
How to host difference and allow for unplanned otherness.
But if the simple act of observing does impact the system state, then I'm glad that I didn't just drop this project.